Hello, the listeners
Hello.
of Align with Your Dharma. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am truly excited. As always, today my guest speaker is a very, very, very special person, in my opinion. Um, so I am looking forward to talking to him, learn from his experience, and pass on the information to all the listeners out there. So I want to truly appreciate all your support. Um, so my guest today, he is Sardar Khan. He also goes by Nadeem. And is it okay if I call you Nadeem?
Yes, please just call me Nadeem. Nadeem's my actual name.
Okay. So Nadeem is the executive director of FM Healing Center, which is Mental Health and Addiction Medicine Clinic. He is also the author of Who Are We? Learning How Your Mind Works. And he is also a certified master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. He is a certified master practitioner of hypnotherapy, certified master practitioner of EFT, and he's a certified master practitioner of success coaching and time techniques. He's also a certified clinical hypnotherapist and medical hypnotherapist. He's also a certified transpersonal and interpersonal hypnotherapist. He's a certified EFT practitioner level 1 and 2. And he is also a certified personal trainer, and he is a certified neurolinguistic programming trainer, hypnotherapy trainer, EFT trainer, success coaching trainer. Whew, I have to take a breath. Okay.
I know. I was just gonna tell you that who's this guy? Who are you talking about?
He has his bachelor's degree in aviation administration from Eastern Kentucky University, and he did his master's online in social work from a foreign university. He has a minor in professional pilot, and he's also board certified by the International Board of Coaches and Practitioners and International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists, and board certified through National Endurance Sports Trainers Association. So I am excited to talk to Nadeem today and pick his brain. So I'm hoping the listeners are ready as well. Nadeem, thank you so much, first of all, for taking time from your busy schedule, from the role you are playing and helping so many individuals out there authentically. And I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share the information that I've been holding on to for a long time, and having those conversations with people in a room, closed
Mhm.
room. But this is a really good opportunity for me to just talk out loud.
Yes, yes. So let me ask you this. How did you get started? Like, what is your journey? I want you to describe your journey that brought you to this point. What drew you or what motivated you to start your business on FM healing?
Um, Man, you ask a question which is, it's a long story,
Okay.
but we'll just take one portion of it and just talk about how did this actually happen. So since my younger age, as far as I can remember, since 3, sometimes I can go to memories like 2 or 1 years old, which is kind of interesting. It comes every once in a while. I've always been fascinated by different things that were going around me. Um, Different people. I have always been an observer since my childhood, very quiet child, all the way back into the class, never did talk to anyone in school, just sat back and observed
Mm,
whole class. Um, and I used to think that whenever somebody did something negative, I used to think, why did this negative happen? You know,
mm,
Now, interestingly, until I got into this education and started learning all of the emotions and the healing part of it, I never thought of these things. You know, this happened after I started looking at myself and I started getting this information that helped me to heal. So the basic thing is healing. I am a student of healing. So the reason you couldn't take your breath because of so many certifications is I keep on getting certifications, looking for more answers towards healing. What is healing? How does it happen? You know, so my journey is all about how this healing process happens, because I suffered myself. um
Mm.
Positive emotions, lovely, I love everything, you know, life is good. All of a sudden this negative thing happens. Why does this negative thing happen? Why can't I stay in that other place? Going back to my childhood, I used to remember that my uncle, cousins, they used to come, and we used to live in Dubai. I was born in Pakistan, but raised in the Middle East, Dubai. Diverse culture, everyone, different people, you know, it never, people didn't seem to me as different because we had different religions, different castes, color, creed, everything. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Friends, that's where we were raised. So to me, everyone was a human being. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything in a box at that time. Um, and I remember the cousins used to come in, you know, to buy, people traveled and they made a trip out of after every 2 3 years. So cousins used to come in, we used to have a blast for 7 days stay and whatever whatnot, and they used to go away, and this massive negative pressure all the way focused on the heart, you know, um,
Mm.
going through the whole body, and you're depressed for
Mm.
the next 2 months.
Mm.
You know, to me, I was like, what the hell's wrong? Why am I even alive? You know, I used to think about these type of things. And then, of course, coming from a certain culture, certain religion, um, getting the guidance from the spiritual leaders, parents, that, hey, you always revert back to the creator and ask the creator and this, that, and the other. Interestingly, it was more a hit and miss kind of a thing. One moment you felt better, but then again you're back to that place.
Mm.
It was a emotional roller coaster ride. Internally,
Mm.
externally, I would have been happy, you know, people
Mm.
wouldn't know, but that's what was happening internally. There was
Mm.
this question mark always, that what is this negative pressure? How can I overcome it? In my 40s is when it really hit me, and everything was lost. The businesses, the homes, foreclosure, and I ended up in my car for 7 days. And that's
Mm.
where I started connecting very deeply inside myself and saying, hey,
Mm.
there's something wrong that I'm doing, that is causing me every time. It's a loop that I'm stuck in. You know, I am very grateful that I had plenty of resources throughout my life, to where financially people would help me. There were plenty of resources who gave me money for businesses and so on and so forth, to get me out of situations. But there was this stuck state, you know, there was a loop. No matter how much money I would put in something, it always ended up into a negative place. So it was more of a roller coaster ride, which basically was teaching me. I was enhancing myself, but at the same time, not on that full capacity, full disclosure type of a thing.
Mm.
You know? So my path was wrong.
Mm.
This is where we can talk about purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dharma.
So,
What
so,
is your
mm,
dharma? So even though I was on the roller coaster path of my purpose, at the same time, I didn't get it. I didn't
mm,
understand it. See, we are always on the purposeful path.
mm,
So either we can focus on it or we don't focus on it. If we don't focus on it, then it feels like a roller coaster ride, negative emotions, this, that, and the other. But if we focus on it, then all of a sudden life changes. All of those moments, they just wash away, and that roller coaster ride becomes a straight line, and you're cruising easily and effortlessly on 120 miles an hour, 500 miles an hour, whichever pace you want. You got the beach on one side and you got mountains and greenery on the other side. And, you're on Sunset Boulevard.
Yes, but it's that moment when we realize that awareness, that you realize that's the key, right?
Um, focus. I think focus is extremely important. Number one is awareness, that I am aware, who am I? And then the focus, that what am I focusing on? Those are the two things. Now, a purpose is very vague. It's all focus on the whole bigger thing. It's the end goal, that I have to reach. At the same time, when you have to manifest little goals or accomplish little goals, like it's like driving a car. As I mentioned in my book, that we drive like a car. We are our own mechanics. There's nothing else out there which is going to come and fix us. We have to fix ourselves. There might be resources like the parts and the AutoZone and maybe even a mechanic who might come in and, hey, change the oil and this, that, and the other. Those are the external parts of it. But how do we fix our own selves? Because we are the driver of the car too, because we are the car. So we fix our own selves. We have to understand what we are driving before we even drive.
So going back to your purpose, so you found your purpose.
Yes,
then...
those 7 days basically was the beginning. So, you talk about the guidance. So the guidance started pouring in. And my journey started. So it was a little late, but it was like a crash board, accelerated learning for me. So around 2013, I started my first certification. These are all interesting little bit stories. They have their own legs. I won't get into it, but in general, that's where I started my more education. I knew I had to learn more. And what I found is you can't just learn from everybody. It's not like, oh, this guy is a hypnotherapist. He's talking good, so I'm going to become a hypnotherapist and I'll learn what he learned. It doesn't work that way. It is the teacher who's teaching, who gives you the knowledge and the energy and the understanding that makes you who you are. So when I knew that my first path was hypnotherapy, I went online and I Googled and Googled and Googled. And there were tons and tons of hypnotherapy certifications. Some were for $100, $150, weekend course, this, that, and the other, online. Yet I was on a purposeful path at that time. I was deeply, deeply listening to my own self, which I didn't do before. Before I would listen or decide otherwise. It's like, I got the gut feeling and I didn't listen to it. And then later I would say, oh, shoot, what the heck did I do? Why didn't I just go on that road when I felt like it, So at that point in time, I had given up and I said, whatever my feelings are going to tell me is what I'm going to do. Now, of course, I questioned my feelings. Definitely. Now, that was an internal dialogue that I had with myself. But I always said, okay, I'm feeling good. My mind said, go for it, because I don't have anything to gain anymore, so I'm going to go for it anyway. So I questioned hypnotherapy from a religious perspective, from, other perspectives, other people. I talked to other people. They said, positives and negatives about it. At the same time, when it was time for me to make decision, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to walk on the path that is out there. And that was the path that I was supposed to walk on. So
you felt it in your heart or your gut feeling, whatever you felt.
Everything. Yes. My internal being said, this is the path. This is the only path. Like it, you don't like it, too bad. Take this journey, and that was the message that I got.
And that came from your challenge that you experienced.
everything that came
Yeah.
from everything. And my focus was healing. My focus
Mm,
was never money, never I want my house back, or never negative things that I had already done before, fight the fights and do this, that, and the other. It was just pure focus. How
mm,
can I heal myself? Because I know if I heal myself, all of the things, everything else, I'll get it.
mm,
I knew I have the capability. I mean, my whole life, I have done businesses. Up to that point, I consulted major um, organizations, helped them with business analysis, helping them to make the decisions of what is the right choice of buying a business and how to go in and make a business which is going down successful. I had done it.
mm,
So I knew all of the educational and applications more than anyone else. As far as business and success was concerned, there was some other problem that I was working on fixing.
so it
And
was internal and you wanted to heal yourself. When did you decide you are going to help others and open up FM Healing Center?
oh, that goes all the way back a few years before that. My father, when before my business crashed, it was a gas station at that point. See, I didn't come from a medical background or any
Mm,
learning. If you look at my certification was aviation administration business. Uh,
mm,
so I had experience in all types of business. I had a super gas station that used to make tons of money in Florida. Um, and my father, I received a call. My father used to call us every Friday. He has always been that pillar who has,
mhm,
interestingly, I never took my father seriously, by the way. I loved him. I was very connected with him. I again was a very quiet child, very active in sports. I would just go play, do my thing, come back, enjoy myself. So my enjoying was external with my friends, more internal though. If I was at peace internally by playing, I was my own critic more than people would say, hey, I'm a good player, this, that, and the other. But I would look at myself and I would say, no, I can do better.
we are always the worst critic of ourselves.
you know? So I always went for the better inside me, which made me good in the eyes of other people. And I'm grateful for that. Um, so my father, we received a call from my brother that, hey, dad has liver cancer and it's spread out. There's not much we can do. So I went as soon as I knew, because it has been years and years, because we have been living in the United States, that has been in Dubai, and our goal throughout our life till that point was, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna, establish myself and this, that, and the other, and I'm gonna save a lot of money. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna spend my, we think we will live forever. We think we'll live forever. So
Yeah.
I was in that mindset, so was everyone else. And all of a sudden, like a brick wall hit me. Like,
Mm,
oh shit, what happened? And things are going parallel, right? Things are bad with the business and, and things are already challenging. And
mm,
this is happening to dad. So it happened within the 2 or 3 years. Dad passed away. When I went and I left everything and went and spent my 3 months with dad. During that process, I was on a balcony with my uncle one day, and in Dubai, one of the interesting things, it's a Muslim country. So when it's time, the sunset time or any time, majorly sunset time, um, because it's beautiful. We lived on top of the fifth or sixth floor. So I'm in the balcony with my uncle, and the call for prayer starts from one corner, echoing everywhere. Me and my uncle are talking. I mean, it's not normal. We have lived our whole life in that, and that sound is just majestical. It's like a meditation.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention to it or you don't pay attention, it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And while that was happening, all of a sudden I had a vision that I
Mm.
was in a clinic, sitting on a chair, and I basically literally, it's like something came, showed me the picture, and said, "This is where I'm going." And then
Wow.
it was so vivid that, I mean, it was so real.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I started laughing. I was like, what is this? I started laughing. Something like that had happened to me before. Um,
Did you share it with your uncle?
yeah, I told my uncle, we were joking around. I mean, I was still alive. I mean, he was inside. So we were just trying to, and I started laughing. And uncle said, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "I just saw what I'm going to do, and it doesn't make sense to me. And this is what I saw." And he was like, "Huh? Okay." And I said, and it seems like it's pertaining to dad somehow. So there were
Ah,
messages given to me because eh, pretty much all of what I'm doing is basically a vision that was, or that path was given to me. That vision showed me exactly what I was supposed to do, you know.
when did you decide to pursue? So what was your, I want to know what was
Oh,
your dad's opinion when you when
I
you
didn't
shared it with him?
I didn't share anything with anyone at that point in time. It was just the uncle. It just happened, and I just told him, this is so weird, how you're talking. This is so weird. I just saw this, and I have no clue what this is all about, you know. Um, and then we go about our business. Dad passes away. Now, when dad is passing away, he gives a message out like a couple of days before he passes away. Heard the message with the whole family there, everyone was there. Um, that that comes into play right now, because
Mm,
the message that he gave us, people when they're passing away, they're so aligned and connected. Sometimes if you dabble into the energy world and spirituality, and how the alignment happens, and the Akash records, and how the super conscious mind basically flows messages or the information through people and all of that. Esther Hicks stories, that's an interesting concept. So it was kind of like one of those moments.
mm,
I'm like,
mm,
the more I study, I'm like, oh, that moment happened to me in my life, and it
mm.
sense now, because now I get what the information was.
So
You
you
know,
didn't get it when your dad was saying it?
no,
Mm.
because at that time, that information was so far away that it didn't make sense, because
So,
things were not, I mean, we were not even on the same path. It would be different if I was on that path, then it would start making sense. But I'm on the sixth path. It's like
mm,
five roads going in the same direction. I'm on the fourth road, and this
mm,
information is for the first road.
mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm on this road. What are they talking about? I don't even know if the first road exists at that time.
But how does it make sense for you now that you're saying whatever my dad said before, it's he had a vision and he told it. So how does it resonate now? How do you think
Because
that happens?
because whoa,
Something
it,
to do with the
it
subconscious mind?
it has everything to do with everything. There are multiple factors in it. Number one, emotions.
Mm,
Emotions is the guiding. Remember, what did I do? I was looking for a solution of the negative emotions, right?
mm, mm,
So negative emotions, I didn't get them, so I was looking for information. Now, positive emotions were so positive, therefore, I didn't care much about them. I just
mm,
focused on the negative, that, hey, why is this negative? I want to change it to positive. Positive is good. Now, I didn't get the positive either. or nobody taught me how to manage those negative and positive emotions. If someone, my parents or my spiritual leader or my culture or my sector would have informed me or taught me that, hey, buddy, this is how you need to work with the emotions. This is what emotions are. All I learned is, you did something negative, you get a spanking or you get a timeout or you get some sort of a reprimand. So all I, was taught, or we, majority of us are taught in our childhood, is to suppress our emotions. Suck
Mm.
it in, boy. If you're a boy, suck it in, boy. And for girls, it's more like, hey, girls don't do that.
Yeah.
Girls are supposed to behave in a certain way, you know? So there are different mixed messages and subconscious messages and commands
Hmm.
that come from our parents. And by the way, let me clear this. It's not our parents' fault.
Yep.
It's just that they don't know. This is what
Yes.
they learned, therefore they follow that same path.
Yeah. They are just taking
They're
action based on their experience.
exactly. So it's not
Mhm.
their fault that they are bad parents or anything. My parents were
Yes.
awesome,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they lack that information. We as
Yep.
a society are lost. We have
Mhm.
lost that place to where we teach our kids as guides rather than authority figures. You know, that's one of the problems in our systems. We think that we are the judges and our kids are the prisoners, you know, and that's one of the reasons the kids struggle,
Mhm.
because we are demanding them to do certain things, whereas instead of helping them through those growth cycles of making little mistakes and learning from those mistakes and always being there for them and guiding them. And it needs to be that voice that, hey, you're crossing the road, I'm right behind you. Okay. Hey, you forgot to look on the left, there is a car coming, so stop. So all you're letting them make those decisions, but you're pointing their focus in the right direction so that they see better, because their focus is a little bit smaller than ours up to that point with information. I think that's good parenting. That's one of the reasons a lot of times kids, as soon as they hit 18, they're like, goodbye, I don't even want to see you, because it was so miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
um those are the things. Yeah, you were asking me about the path. So that's the emotion part. That's basically because if I feel, then I know what to do. Even in negative circumstances, if I feel anger, that anger is telling me something. Hey, stay away from that guy. Or it is telling me you need to speak up. So that
Mhm.
anger is guiding me. So emotions is a guiding mechanism of a human being.
So if for example, so when you're talking about anger, instead of like, okay, I'm getting angry, let me just respond based on that anger. Instead, you're saying, look at the anger or whatever the negative emotion is. It's just guiding you to look at things in a different perspective. Is that what I'm understanding?
Okay, so when we drive a car, okay, there are certain things that basically manage that car: accelerator, brake, clutch, gear,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
steering, right? You can say that a human being is comprised of certain elements as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just like the gear, you shift the gear depending on the situation. Now you can't drive in second gear at 80 to 90 miles an hour, right? So that's an understanding that you learn if you pay attention to your car. Therefore, similarly, I'll give you just kind of a basic example. Now, the emotions that I'm talking about is, remember, they are not massive. They're not rage. Now, rage is is basically a suppression. You're suppressing anger for such a long time to where it becomes rage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am talking in terms when you have resolved all of your emotions, and the beginning part of emotions is that they are a guiding mechanism. So
Mhm.
it's just like my car, the oil's changed, it's all cleaned, it's all detailed, and it's all fresh. That's the point where I'm talking about.
Got
So
it.
please make sure that, because a lot of times people will get confused that, hey, no, but my anger tells me to go and hurt somebody, That's because your anger needs to be resolved first. Or you
Mm.
can get to your basic natural anger state, in which now when you feel that anger, you'll feel that, hey, either I need to walk away from this person, or I need to stand up and give this information to this person because they need it. Otherwise, they'll keep on doing this in a cycle for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
Right?
Got it. Yes.
So that's the place, is that beginning part where you follow your emotions, guidance, and you do it. Once you take that step, that anger disappears. Same thing with um, eh, any other emotion, positive. I'm going to talk about positive emotion. So someone says a joke, you feel so happy that you physically laugh. And when
Mhm.
the laughter is done, then you take a deep breath. That was so awesome. you know so
Mhm.
that emotion has guided you to physically laugh and be happy, and then you're done with that emotion. Now you go to the next emotion, whatever that might be. So
So my question is,
mhm.
since FM healing provides guidance and support to um, people who are in addiction, I want you to talk about a little bit of that. Like, what, um, who are all are you serving at the FM Healing Center?
We are a licensed facility by the state as a behavioral health service organization, and addiction medicine license.
Mm,
Therefore, we work with whomsoever has any issues with any type of mental health issue.
mm,
Um, they can reach us, except for hospitalization. We do outpatient therapies. So our focus is outpatient therapies with all of those people. Um, our primary goal is to help people to understand what is happening. So I call that education, because if you don't know what's going on, how are we or anyone else going to help you to fix it? So that's one thing that we do, is to help others with the proper information so that they get it. Oh, that's how my mind works. So therefore, now I know how it works. I can start making the changes and in my whole life that can help me with that mental instability that I have. Then we can talk about prescriptions. Prescriptions are placeholders which have to be taken away, so therefore they have to be used in a proper way. They can't be used for life,
mm,
because especially prescriptions for mental health type situations make you numb like a drug. Many of
mm,
them play around with the chemicals in your body.
mm,
So
mm.
in any case, they change your physical formation in order to help you. Why do that? Now let me get back to the healing thing.
Mm.
Healing only happens when you are in your natural state.
Yes, I'm glad you went there because I remember when we were talking, you said, tell me a little bit more about the natural state, because you talked about instead of being mechanical, be natural. So I'm so glad you
Okay.
went there.
So healing only happens if you feel, then you can heal. If you can't feel, you will never heal. Remember that. If I feel pain or discomfort in a certain area of my body, do I ever try to use that area of my body. So let me give you an example of, if my hand gets hurt and I start feeling pain in my wrist, am I going to use that hand or that wrist? Of course, I'm going to say, oh, it's hurting, I'm going to take some rest. Even if I do things, I'll do the things with the other hand and I'll give rest to this side of the hand. What does that mean? I'm feeling that there is some discomfort, which is guiding me and telling me that I need to rest it. Why am I resting it? I'm resting it because that's how the healing happens.
Mm.
And who's fixing? I mean, I'm resting it, but is there someone from somewhere who is coming in and mechanically trying to fix the things that happen to my wrist? Of course not. It's all internally happening. Our bodies, whether you go into history, religion, or any, you can go and research any of the topics in the world, and you'll find that our bodies, the way they're made, they're miraculous. I mean, we ourselves are miracles because we have tendency of healing everything automatically,
Mm.
naturally. Because nothing externally, we can enhance. Now remember, we can enhance the healing process by taking certain different type of medications that can help us enhance our immune system. Or if the doctor finds certain issues with our body, they can give us some things that can enhance those healing processes. At the end of the day, the healing naturally happens. You're just enhancing those processes. It's not converting everything into healing, that, oh, this body is not healing, I'm going to heal it. Even with cancer patients lose their immune system 100% when they're going through chemotherapy and radiation therapy. That's why they're isolated and they cannot go out and they cannot do certain things, is because they don't have an immune system. So they're taking a bunch of medications just to keep their immune system somehow kicking back on. What happens is, after interesting, huh? Because if you go through case studies of cancer patients, and especially the ones who survive, their immune system automatically comes back.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
nothing, that you can externally give to say, oh, there's a button, hey, you go inside and there is a button, press that button and the immune system is going to turn on, or we are going to make this immune system and that's going to be a part of it. There is nothing physical about it.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
There's everything as far as healing is concerned, in conjunction, because the body has many layers. That's why, and I'm talking about the physical layer here, giving you examples, but the body has many layers as far as healing is concerned. That's why it's a hit and miss thing, and it's a misunderstood thing, or it's challenging to really understand it, because our bodies are comprised of many elements other than the physical element. I call it layers. It has the mental layer, it has the emotional layer, the spiritual layer, and then the physical layer. Based
Mm.
on, so far, as of today, based on the knowledge I have and the research and the information, all of these layers, last layer is the physical layer, which we think is the only layer, which we think is the primary layer. But it's actually the last layer of manifestation. And that's one of the reasons there is integrated medication since 2012-13. The government has been asking all of the providers in the United States and throughout the world globally to start working on integrated medicine. What does integrated medicine mean? Which means go out of your box, learn something else, and integrate it. I think the medical field has understood it wrongly, because when that word came out, that's around when FM Healing Center also opened up, and we opened up an integrated medical clinic, in which there is different type of therapies that happen within the umbrella of yeah, the medical clinic, but it's all integrated. Spirituality and everything is included in there. If there's anyone who needs anything, any sort of therapy,
Mm,
interventions in that way. But they think that you get a priest, you get a counselor, and you get a doctor, you got an integrated medicine. And that's untrue.
mm, mm,
Because a priest not necessarily is a spiritual guide.
mm,
A priest might be a priest of a certain section of people,
mm,
certain sect of people, and living in a certain box. So
mm.
how are you going to help other people? Because we are human beings. We don't identify ourselves as, Muslims and Hindus. And when we go in as a client, we are a human being going into a clinic. And the clinic has to serve all aspects of who we are. So there is a big disconnect if a Muslim goes in and a Christian is trying to help him spiritually in a clinical setting, then there is a disconnect in that. So how would the healing happen? So when
So
we talk,
are you saying as a human being, look, at least in FM Healing Center, um, you look out, you don't put anybody in a box, and you serve everyone who comes in there as a human being.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Because if we start um, doing that, then there is a disconnect in the service that we can provide. So if our goal is to help people heal, then
Mm,
that goal won't be met. There will be a lapse in that goal because of this conflict. So you have to generalize things and help people as a whole, rather than suppressing certain things. I see a lot of clinics which are like that. And that's one
mm.
of the reasons their success rates are extremely low. They have issues. People come from those type of clinics to us, and so on and so forth. So it's just an observation,
So
that
when you're talking about the success, how do you define success?
well, I say 1% success is 100% success.
Okay. How do you define it though?
Define it. Well, if you let's take a little thing
Okay.
like focus. Okay.
Mm,
If I can teach you how to just focus on what you want to do and you do it, then that's success. That's success. There is, see, okay, let's talk about success in a negative way now. What is
okay.
the opposite of success?
Failure.
Right? If there is failure, then how are you going to succeed? Because failure is a place where it's like a quicksand. You keep on going in, and oh, I'm a failure. I can't do that because I'm a failure. So it's like a quicksand that basically takes you deep in to where you'll never reach success. So therefore, in our language or in our clinical setting or in the people that I know along with you, we look at failure as a feedback. We look at that structure and we see that how can we focus on it in a positive way?
So learning from whatever, that we
So
have not succeeded.
if we turn the word failure into feedback, that
Ah,
means anytime I'm in a negative place, if I make a mistake, I'm just going to learn from it. It's as simple as that. So that's success. Even if I've
that's
realized it and I've used this principle once, then I'm successful.
Say that again.
That's
Even if you have realized it, what?
even if you have realized by doing that, you can easily get success, then you have 100% learned how to be successful.
Beautifully said.
Even a little thing like that. That's why I said even 1% of success. People put numbers. I never do. I never put numbers on anything until unless it's necessary. Because numbers, then it becomes a numbers game. Success has unlimited measurement. I mean, there is no measurement to measure success. There is no measurement to measure excellence. Let me talk to you about one thing. Language is extremely important. That's one of the things that I've learned. The language through which goes into our mind is super important. The language basically makes our emotions positive or negative. So since we just talked about failure word, I started focusing on that word and I started feeling like I was in a quicksand.
Same.
And it's drowning me because I'm a failure. I can't get out of it. I'm always going to be a failure, and 10,000 other limiting decisions started happening. And then I said, no. If I start drowning, it's like, in the movies, stop moving when you're in the quicksand so that you stop going in. So it's kind of one of those moments that you start saying, okay, what do I need instead? So therefore, you start looking at the words that start taking you out of those cases. So feedback is like, okay, I need to learn. What do I need to do in the quicksand in order to get out of the quicksand? So words are super important. That is what basically helps us to properly communicate. So it's like learning the language again. In my 40s, I learned my language again. And when I changed my language, that's when the magic started happening internally as well as externally, along with 10,000 other things. As I mentioned, there are multiple journeys within one journey. Because healing is such a vast topic, we can talk about many different layers of healing that have to be aligned in order for the healing to happen. It's not one thing that has to happen. It's multiple things that have to happen that basically align together, and then boom, healing happens. The tumor shrinks away, your cancer goes away, and all of that. Those are the processes we call miracles in this world. And we think they just happen once in a while. They're miracles. Miracles happen only once in a while with someone. And interestingly, miracles happen to only one types of people, religion, caste, color, and all of that. It's all
Belief
misunderstood.
system. Belief system.
Yeah. Belief system plus it's misunderstood. Because a lot of times people are selling religions that my religion has miracles, so you come to my religion, if you want to heal. So I see there is a marketing war going on that my God is God, your God is nothing, kind of a thing, Whereas the interesting thing is, if you erase all of those boxes and you come to the conclusion that there is only one creator, and we all choose to give him give
different names.
Different names, because that is what we were brought up with. It happened when I was born.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's okay wherever I was born and whomever I was supposed to be born with, because I had a purpose.
Yes.
Coming back to those 5 roads, right? So the reason I felt that I was on the 4th road and I didn't get it when my father was telling me all of those things, and later on I realized the journey started back then. Because what he did in that moment of his own alignment, because 3 days later, he passed away.
Mm.
So even at that time, he couldn't even see. And he used to say, hey, move out of the way. And there was nothing in front of him. Hey, move. Interesting stuff
Mm.
like that. uh, cool stuff, I say,
Mm. Mm.
because it was what I do now. It just makes more sense that what was happening. And anyways, that's where he made us aware of those 5 paths. And once you know something, you cannot unknow it. So the journey began.
Mm.
That's the reason I started trusting the inner feeling when I was out on the road, which was telling me, hey, do this. When I wanted to do hypnotherapy, then it took me on Google. It took me literally when I decided to focus on that person that I was.
Mm.
Because first I was focusing on, oh, I gotta do this hypnotherapy training, and I kept on searching for hours, and I got tired of it. And I was like, so many choices, this, that, and the other, and that feeling of this is what you have to do, that connection was not happening. And then I just closed my eyes and I just thought to myself, and I started brainstorming again, talking to my own self and internally. And I was like, what am I missing? I think I have to find the right person. That's the exact words that came to my mind. And with that intention, I started typing on Google, and boom, that person came up.
Wow. So the intention also matters. Your focus combined with the intention.
So that brings me to the question, how do you manifest?
Yeah. Go ahead.
First step of manifestation, what is manifestation? I want to drive a car, or I want to eat food. Okay, I have to manifest. In my books, manifestation is like, when you go out and you look at, oh, I'll teach you how to manifest money. In this world, the focus has been more towards wealth, money, and success in business and those kind of things. To me, and creating and manifesting in those areas. To me, manifestation means uh, everything. I just like money, you have to manifest $1 million. You have to manifest your breakfast, lunch, and dinner too. So the first step in my knowledge and my research and my understanding of looking at all of these manifestation processes that people have, it's you have to think of that thought first and you have to focus on it. So you have to create that thought of the thing that you want. And it
Mm.
could be as easy as food. And what is that? That's you're setting the intention of eating
Mm.
food at 4 o'clock today. I'm setting an
Mm.
intention that I'm going to eat at least half an hour after I'm done with you. Can it make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So
So the
focus.
intention combined with the focus. Mm.
So you have to have that intention. And then the focus is already there, because if your focus was not there, then how are you going to do the intention? So that is a part of it.
I like that. I like that definition. Focus combined with intention. So create the thought. Think of the thought that you want to accomplish.
And then you
And
start seeing that picture and start feeling that feeling, and then you start hearing the things that are happening in that picture of the thing that you want,
mm,
and then all of a sudden you start feeling that, yes, I'm gonna have Chinese today.
okay. Yeah, yeah. That's
And then
beautiful.
you go for it. Then you look for
Yeah.
them. Then you find the resources, and then you take action. Then you go and get Chinese.
Yeah. That's a great example just to get started. And I'm sure my listeners might not have heard it from that perspective. So thank you for saying the definition of manifestation.
It's
How do you?
there are many definitions based on different people, I think I like to make things simple. I like
Mm,
life to be simple, um, because in simplicity is happiness to me. Not talking about other people, but I felt like the less stuff you have, the less thing you have to deal with. So to me, that is simple. you know the more stuff I see people with I don't know if you guys have watched it or not, but a long time ago I watched a TV show in which um, Ben Stiller, and I forget the name of the lady. But anyways, there was a scene in which he's her husband or a boyfriend. I can't recall that very clearly, but there's a scene in which she's the person who has like 10 pillows in the bed to decorate it, and he's the kind of person who just likes one pillow and sleep in the bed. And one day he just blows up and he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why do you have 10 pillows? And every time we have to sleep, we have to take 10 pillows off of the bed and put them on the side. And there is so much work involved in complexity. You're doing so much work. I mean, it was the funniest scene ever. I laughed like
mm.
minutes.
So
Um,
how do you unwind, Nadeem? What do you
Simply
do to recharge?
meditate or do
Mm,
something that you love. you know Sometimes I'll just chill with my mom. She's still alive, and that's my unwinding time. I
mm,
shut my phone down, turn it off, and I sit with mom. Mom, what do you want to watch today? Some romantic drama or something like that, so that we can go into that love state and then discuss the chit chat about the drama or whatever, whatnot, just 15-20 minutes, energetically connect. So to me, that is a meditation. uh,
mm,
but going inside, meeting your own self, that's a very good place of unwinding. You can
mm.
go into the zone. In some languages it is called the hakalau state, and you can stay in that state, because that is a meditative state. Like the yoga gurus and all of them, they 90% of the time they stay in that yogic state in their mind. So when they're doing the meditation, they're looking at their third eye, so they practice on that in meditation so much to where they naturally, even when they're looking at people, they're in that natural awareness state, even when their eyes are open. So that's
Rather than like this.
rather than like this.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
because you need to be in an awareness state, in the zone. Many different ways of explaining that meditative state that I'm talking about, that hakalau state. There are plenty of
So
meditations. You start working on meditations because meditations are going to take you into the mind. I haven't talked about the conscious or the subconscious mind. That's a topic for another day, because
yes,
your question is relevant to that. And that in itself is basically an understanding of how does the mind work, you know. Um, so maybe this question can be answered next time. We can talk about it and we can go into detail that, hey, how do I get into that state? And we can talk about the conscious and the subconscious mind, because the zone is basically the subconscious mind, that we are connecting with, you know. Um,
but you are also saying meditation. When you said you meditate when you're talking to your mom and spending time with her, that is meditation.
Everything's a meditation. Walking, working out, even work is a meditation. To me, if I'm connected to my subconscious mind, because when you look at the conscious and the subconscious mind and do the math, then if your mind is a whole as 100%, your
Hmm.
conscious mind, through which you are visually seeing and all of that kind of stuff, and you're making certain decisions, is only 0.006% of that 100%. And your subconscious mind, which we are disconnected with, is 99.996% of the mind. Now tell me, what the heck are we doing? Why are we on the conscious side of the mind and we think that this is the reality and this is everything? And when we were kids, we had the mind as a whole. The difference, the separation of the mind started happening between 7 and 15, 20. That's where the critical factors started dividing all of these things based on the information that we were getting from the world and external circumstances. And that's why a lot of times teenagers, they would sit down and especially in the teenage, as soon as they hit that 10 years age, they're sitting down and they're thinking that what should I do? How can I do this? How can I not do this? So majority of them nowadays are having those issues, and they go into that quiet zone. And the parents are like, I don't know what's going on with my kid. Well, that's because there is a critical factor that is manifesting in the mind, which is basically separating, and they're from them using the whole mind. Now they're switching their gears towards using only conscious side of the mind. That's why they're sitting and thinking that I'm stuck on this side of the mind. How do I go back and get the answers? Because all of the answers are in the 99.996% of the mind. And there is no proper guidance from the parents either, because they don't know what's going on. So they take them to a therapist puts pills on them, and now they're having issues with medications because they're taking medications that are making them numb. Therefore, they're not feeling the feelings, which the feelings are basically guiding us, right? So if I don't feel like turning on this signal, then how am I going to turn at this signal when I'm numb? Do you see how many places things are messed up?
Yeah.
And we have to start working on fixing them. And the first place where you fix them is education. I got to learn who I am first. I got to understand what is it that runs me? You know, I got the physical body. I know it works, but there is something inside me that basically makes me feel like I'm at a dead stop. I'm in a stuck state. Now, it might not be in all areas. It could be that, oh my goodness, I don't know, this certain place that I feel like I'm stuck, you know. But if you knew how it worked, then you can unstuck it easy.
Which area? Okay.
Any area, because life is unlimited. There's so much potential we have. You know, we haven't even explored. I feel like in our lifetimes, we haven't even explored 1 to 2% of what we can do. Even science hasn't, I mean, they look at the brain and they say that each cell of the brain can hold enough memory. It has enough memory to hold 10 Bibles, right? Each cell of the brain. And we haven't even used that much memory. We haven't even used that many cells of our brain. So just imagine how much potential we have actually that we haven't used.
Man, I can keep talking. I'm telling you. So, but I would love to have you again, and I'm sure my listeners would enjoy too. Next time we'll talk about, how the subconscious mind, how we can tap into the subconscious mind and reach our potential.
Definitely. We can talk
capable.
about anything that you would like. You can open it up to questions too. Ask the listeners if they have any questions based on this podcast. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions next time.
Definitely.
Because I'm pretty sure I've given so much information to where people are like, oh, I got to ask this guy this question. I can feel it. I know there are people out there. You know, the interesting thing is even though you can't see people, but we are energetically connected. So even though I don't know you, whoever you are, who's listening, I can feel you. So we are all interconnected with the source. So if you, again, focus a little bit towards the people who are listening right now, or who will be listening in the future, I can connect with them right now. So if you have any questions, people, you are most welcome to ask me. And you can send her an email and I can respond it in an email too.
Yes, and I will put in Nadeem's email address and the contact information. So you can reach out to him as well if you have questions for him. And if anyone
Here,
needs.
no phone numbers. No phone numbers.
Okay. Yeah. Through your website, FM Healing Center.
Oh, yes, you can put it on the website. Yeah,
Yes. fmhealingcenter.com.
that sounds great. Yeah, they
Yes.
can go through our website. I will be more than happy to answer anything that they would like.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate your time, Nadeem. It went by so quickly, but I felt like I learned a lot, and I'm sure the listeners learned a lot as well.
It's mutual. We all learn at all the times. So I appreciate you calling me here. This is awesome. I love talking to you too.
Thank you.
There is some sort of a positive exchange of energy to where we can talk all day long.
Yes. Yeah. I know you were taking a couple of sips because I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm asking so many questions. I don't want you to feel dehydrated. So I'm glad you got water bottle there.
I definitely have to have it. When I know that when I start talking, you gotta hydrate.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
teaching, by the way. You have to hydrate the physical manifestation as well.
Yes. That's even though that is the last layer.
Yeah, even though that's the last layer, you have to take care of it because that is the physical layer of it. So even when you take care of your mental by meditation, so on and so forth, physical is also important, because if you take care of your physical, if you go back into thousands and thousands of years back, you can live up to 1,000 years easy. Your body is made in such a way. It's all because of all of these negative things that happen in the world that cause us all of these negative pressures and these other layers that we have disconnected with, that causes the illness to happen. So that's again, when you start learning about healing, then you start learning, okay, I got to resolve not only the physical part of it through a doctor, I have to make sure that the other layers are resolved as well and addressed. That way my body as a whole, can heal, and it can stay in that healing state. Our bodies detox every day. When you go to sleep, if you do the right measures in the right state, it detoxes. Each cell of our body changes after 365 days. So we are like a snake. We change, we don't physically change the skin like a snake, but we change every cell of our body. 365 days ago, whatever cells were there, they're gone. I have new cells in my body. Because they change. So those are the things that you start looking at, that, hey, we naturally do all of these things. Then what is it that is causing us to be old at 50, which I don't think so. It's old. I think 50 is nothing. It's like,
It's just in the mind, the
yeah,
number is just in the mind.
yeah, exactly. I think the world is going, I've seen a lot of people who are living longer now, who are aligning themselves within all senses, in all layers. So I see people with 100, 105, and couples too, you know, that are living longer. So we are on the verge of that change. We are on the verge of that change.
Okay, one last question.
Yes.
Like I said, I can talk for hours, and I want to make sure the listeners, I'm not overloading them. But one last question:
Mhm.
what is one thing that others value that maybe you used to value but you don't value anymore, or others value but you don't value?
Money.
Mm,
That is out of my books.
mm.
To me, money is a resource. So I never go for money. I only go for my purpose. And when I redid my values, instead of money actually is not in any of my values. My third or the fourth value is wellness. No, yeah, third is unlimited wealth.
That
Now, wealth,
comprises health too.
exactly. It has the dollar in there, it has everything. So when
Wisdom,
you
wisdom.
focus, yeah, everything. So therefore, money is never there. It's never in my mind. To me, money is attached with ego. So I always had that battle. I had many limiting decisions based on money. Money is the root of all the evil. Money is this. I released all of them. And when I released all of them, and even today, if I find myself, you know, um, every once in a while, because we still live in this world, there is a lot of negative information and limiting decisions that are coming our way on a daily basis, and I have to kind of clean up every day. Just like a shower, you have to take a shower or on a daily basis in order to keep yourself clean. So meditations are like that. So whenever I see myself, my ego state a little bit, or my focus a little bit more towards uh, the dollar sign, then I see that I lose the focus of my purpose. Then I start judging people. And by the way, I don't uh, do it physically or an external environment. It's just I catch it in the internal first. Before the decision goes out into action, I'm so aware of my own self that I catch it. And then I'm like, there is that delete
Mhm.
button, press it, get rid of it. Because therapy can happen in a moment. I mean, healing can happen in a moment. So I quickly dispose off of those negative things, ground myself real quick, and then go forward.
Well, like I said, I can talk about, what are your methods of grounding, but that's another topic. I'm jotting it down. So, so we can have another topic about grounding and subconscious mind and conscious mind. Um, okay, so I know I said one more question.
That's okay, Aruna. Listen, yeah, I'm open to all of this information, so that's okay.
So if you
Oh,
have in your power, to create one principle that is going to be completely beneficial, that's going to impact everyone around you in a positive way, what would it be?
I would start with the place of parenthood
Mm,
and create a principle, this identity that we create in this world, that I am the father and I am the mother, that negative identity that we create, that we are the ones who have to lay down rules. So I would like to create a principle in which we can become their guides, and we can collectively sit down with them and lay down rules together, rather than us making the rules and just giving it to them. This is my house, my rules. Do you know how much trauma that can create? Let's switch roles. Let's all of us switch roles, that, hey, I am the kid, I'm inside the house, I just came in. Okay. And I come in, maybe I'm late, maybe something happened outside. Maybe I'm 16, 17, and I went out to eat with the kids, and I come home, and all of a sudden my father and my mother say, this is my house, my rules. You have to be at home at 4 o'clock. And why are you at home at 5 o'clock? Just if you put yourself in that situation, I'm feeling so many negative emotions. I'm like, are you my parents? Do you love me? What if there was something negative happened to me outside? I'm only half an hour late. The first question of a parent should be that, hey, bud, you're okay because you're late.
mm,
Probably give them a hug and then sit down, and then they can say, hey, let's try, you got us worried, and how about next time either give us a call, or let's sit down and set up a guideline so that we can all be positive, we can all be happy and we are not worried. So instead of talking to them in that way, so that would be a principle that I would lay out, that let go of that negative identity as a judge, and become a part of the team.
That's beautiful. Thank you again. I
You
can't thank you enough. I will certainly put the information about FM Healing Center on the podcast so people can reach out to you directly if they want to ask you questions. And I'm happy if they pass on the information to me, and then we can have another episode, which I'm looking forward to,
Sure.
because I had all these notes. I'm like, okay, let me ask Nadeem about this, but that's okay. That is for another time.
Hey, whatever was supposed to be discussed in this has
Yes.
already been discussed. So
Yes.
now we prepare for the next.
Yes. I remember that from our last conversation. So I'm like, okay, I'm going with the flow. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Nadeem.
that's the best way of, riding a river, is just go with the flow and enjoy the
Yes.
ride.
Yeah. Well, you have a wonderful rest of the day
You
and the
too.
rest of the evening. I look forward to talking to you again.
Definitely, me too, Aruna. It was a pleasure talking to you. I had fun.